Hello, and welcome to AP Taylor Swift,
the podcast for Swifties who love to overanalyze lyrics. We're your hosts.
I'm Jenn.
I'm Jodi.
And I'm Maansi.
And we're your unofficial professors of Taylor Swift.
Hello and welcome to AP Taylor Swift. If you're listening to this episode, it means that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are officially married. Woo! Congratulations,
Woo-woo.
Mr. and Mrs. Swift.
The way that you said that sounds like it was like our contingency recordings for these kind of events.
Yes, we are pre-recording this because we know it will happen. It's just a matter of when. And so we wanted to be ready. For our new listeners, hi, we are AP Taylor Swift, the dorkiest Taylor Swift podcast out there. We do deep reading and literary analysis of Taylor Swift's lyrics. I'm not kidding when we say we are super dorky. The AP in our title stands for advanced placement. So we're for advanced placement Swifties or anyone who just misses their English class and wants to apply it to some pop culture. So typically we drop new episodes every Wednesday. Make sure you hit subscribe so that we show up in your feed. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to share the love. And for those new or returning subscribers, subscribe to our after school Substack for additional content exclusive to paid subscribers. Maybe we'll do some more wedding content for paid subscribers. If we learn what their first dance song is, we can analyze that. I don't know.
Curious, well, who knows how many details we'll get, but also knowing her, there'll be some sort of reading in the ceremony.
Exactly. And I want the vows. We should analyze the vows.
I know the amount of thought she's going to put into what things to be read and what the vow, I'm so curious.
I would be
about
so shocked if she actually released that, but that would be so amazing.
I would imagine we could get something that's meant to be released, but not something private.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll release a wedding poem or something that she writes.
Or a whole wedding album, a surprise wedding album. What we are doing today is we are each coming to the table with a song that relates to weddings and marriage, something from Taylor's discography that tells us a little bit about what her thoughts are on marriage or were before she actually got married. And we're going to look at Taylor's thoughts on marriage through her songs and her lyrics.
I do want to ask really quick, were either of you the girls that planned your wedding when you were a kid or dreamt about your weddings?
Seeing as I was dating my husband for 8 years through teenage years, I would say yes. Not as a child, I would say. I wasn't a little kid who always wanted to get married, but definitely from teenagers onwards. I was big into Pinterest, which was founded in 2010, 2011. And so I had a Pinterest board that at that time, Instagram wasn't a thing. I had a whole Pinterest board though of ideas, and I had
someone find Taylor's secret Pinterest board that she has for her wedding.
I did not dream of a wedding. I dreamed of a bat mitzvah. Apparently, when I was 5 years old, I told my mother I wanted my bat mitzvah dress to be made out of entirely pearls. And that's when she started saving for my bat mitzvah. And then
I want a super cut of the bougie things that Jodi says.
Right, yes. You've said that many times. And then at my bat mitzvah, when it was over, I was like, oh, I really want another one. And my mom was like, oh, that's your wedding. And I was like, no, that I have to share with someone.
I also had a really big Sweet 16. So I wonder if there's another theme there.
Yeah. Do I have a secret bridal Pinterest board? Absolutely. Because I also love Pinterest. And there are these, but do I know what I want or what that would look like? No, I think there are so many factors that go into that. And sadly, you have to share it with another person. So I guess they should be included in the planning.
They don't have to be. I've learned. What about you, Jenn?
Not really. I actually also didn't even really want a big wedding, but we were young enough and both sets of our parents did want a bigger wedding when we got married. So it ended up being bigger than we wanted. We were actually it's funny because I was talking about this with a friend recently because we were 22. Had just turned 22. So we were
you're a baby.
So young. I know. And we were talking with a friend about weddings because he was talking about his wedding to his wife and what they did, and he was asking us, and Chris and I were probably we were different people when we got married.
Yeah,
I feel this
to
way
be
too.
clear, looking back on my wedding day, I'm I would make very few of those decisions again, but I am a fundamentally different person than I was then.
Yeah,
so
22.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 24, so similar kind of thing.
Babies.
Same, like, older daughter getting married in my family, like, my parents had the big fat Indian wedding.
It was your parents' wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I got enough into it that it was mine, but yeah, this was a big argument that I actually had with my mom where I was like, "Mom, it's my wedding." And she was like, "No, it's not." And I was
Yeah,
like,
she's
"Yeah,
like, "I'm paying for it. It's my
I
wedding."
had,
quite
I think, the
literally
same
is my wedding."
conversation.
Yeah. But I think on this side of maturity, I get it.
You get it. Yeah.
If all my
If
friends are not at my kid's wedding, I'm gonna be sad.
we wanted to elope and we knew it would break people's hearts, and everyone told us we would have regretted it, and I can tell you 13 years later, if you ask us again, we're like, "Oh yeah, we would have eloped." Happily eloped. All right. Sorry, that was an offshoot, but I was like, we've actually never discussed this, the three of us, and I'm kind of curious before we get into this. So I will kick things off. So speaking of going back to our younger days and dreaming about marriage, I went to one of the earliest songs that involves some sort of marital language, which is Love Story. The OG came out on Fearless in 2008, and then in 2021, Taylor's version, solo Taylor Swift song. We did deep dive this song like 2 years ago now, which is
Don't
insane.
remind me.
And for new listeners, Maansi and I put out a theory that really broke Jodi's spirit. So go back and listen to that. I want to say it was like episode 37 or
Something
something.
like that.
I
We'll
just
put it in the
looked
show
at.
notes.
Yeah, episode 32. I was close. Great deep dive. Maansi and I remember it fondly.
Fantastic. Super fun.
I can think of so many just Taylor Swift fans who definitely would have dreamt about dancing to this song at their wedding when we were in high school and this came out, and it created this fantasy thing. I think the music video goes into it too, how romantic the music video is, not just in like, oh, the story is romantic, but in the aesthetics of this like romanticism of what's going on. And ultimately it is a proposal song more than a marriage song. So we get the whole love story. There's like no other way to describe it. She named the song really well. About we were both young when I first saw you. There's a flashback. They're saying hello and realizing that they're in love, but there's a conflict. My daddy said stay away from Juliet, and they still keep sneaking out to see each other, so they're still falling in love despite the world being against them. And then, as always, in a Taylor Swift song, we get the bridge, which changes everything. And in the bridge, I'll just read the whole bridge because it's iconic. I got tired of waiting, wondering if you were ever coming around. My faith in you was fading when I met you on the outskirts of town, and I said, Romeo, save me. I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Juliet. You'll never have to be alone. I love you, and that's all I really know. I talked to your dad. Go pick out a white dress. It's a love story, baby. Just say yes.
I love how your cadence got the way it was
I
sung in
know.
the song. It was
It's so hard
very.
not to.
It's so hard not to. That's why I was sitting here mouthing the whole thing as if I'm singing it.
Also, the urge to not burst out laughing after that deep dive that lives in my brain.
One of the things that I think we wanted to explore a little bit in this episode is like sort of how her views on marriage have perhaps changed and matured over the years. She was quite young when she wrote this song, and just our first real diving into this kind of a story is very, again, romanticized. There's not a lot of reality in this, and that's fine. Like it's a fairy tale. It's meant to be a fairy tale. And some people would maybe critique that. I remember when I was an original fan, my golf coach made
Excuse me? I'm the bougie one?
You both are
My golf
much
coach.
richer than I have ever been in my life.
Wow.
To be fair, I was also deeply unathletic and kind of needed to play a sport. In golf, I could carry a bag around and miss hitting a ball for the most part. I'm not good at golf. But I remember going to a game. Is that what we would call it? I don't know.
A golf tournament.
Yeah, sure. Great. I was so committed to this lifestyle.
Clearly.
All this to say is I remember my golf coach, we all made him put on probably Fearless on the bus as we were going. And he made a comment about excited to see how she matured in her songwriting. And as a teenager, I was deeply offended. I was like, her songwriting is amazing.
What a man.
But as an adult, I can see, like, now when I listen to her old songs, I'm like, these are so fun and nostalgic, but it is fun to see how she's matured. So this is not the most realistic love story. However, the other thing I love about this that I just wanted to point out is the legacy of this song of, yes, this is a fantasy, and yet people propose during the song on the Eras tour many, many times. So it's the scene that feels like kind of unachievable, this unachievable bar that has been set for love, but people took inspiration from it and real people got engaged during the song. And I think that that's really cool. Like, the song has had a million lives as an iconic love song, and I think that's really fun.
Do we think that this song is in part not to blame, but responsible for perpetuating the idea that Romeo and Juliet is a love story and is more romantic than it actually is when it is a tragedy?
I don't know if I would give this song that credit. I think the song was leaning into
Yeah.
it when it came out, but I wonder if it's more of some of the movies that came out, like the Leonardo DiCaprio
Clear
Romeo and
Games one.
Juliet was such a love story movie that came out at the
Mm.
time, like the imagery and everything.
I know that has nothing to do with the wedding of it all,
Yeah.
but it is
Well,
what she's doing here is changing the end of Romeo and Juliet and saying that they get married instead of dying.
yeah.
So she's
Which is
turning what is tragic into something just romantic.
Which that is a whole that is a topic we should do for an episode, turning tragedy into, like, romance or something, because she does that with The Fate of Ophelia.
Yeah.
She plays with that with
Rewriting
Elizabeth
tragedies.
Taylor. She loves rewriting tragedies. It's like the internet meme of,
Changeless?
like, RIP couldn't be me. Like, I hear you, Romeo and Juliet, but actually my ending's happy, so
Yeah. This is better.
sorry.
This is what should have happened. Shakespeare, take note.
But yeah, I mean, it's iconic.
What we started with in our conversation about that innocent, girly desire to plan the wedding and dream of it actually is so perfect, because you're right. Like, you see her mature over time. And I think actually the way that we've picked our songs, we're going to go kind of chronologically through the phases of marriage, the maturity of the marriage process. I
Oops,
don't know.
we did it again.
We will grow through how maybe concepts of marriage change for young girls and women over time. But I think especially here, just the way of, like, the dad is included here. It's the focus is more on the white dress and
The fantasy of it all.
the kind of things that are being focused on in this are just so innocent and picturesque, and definitely that ideal romantic notion of a wedding, less maybe a marriage, which I think is really interesting.
The main conflict in the song isn't between the couple, it's the world against the couple.
Right.
And I think there is some idealism in that of, like, well, when we're in love, obviously everything's fine with us. And it's like,
It's us against the world in love,
yeah,
right? And it's just sometimes about getting to that wedding and less about what happens after.
And this isn't even about the wedding. It's about, I want to marry you. I want to
Yeah.
have a wedding. It's about the
Yeah.
engagement and saying, like, I'm going to make this commitment to you. I'm committing to commit to you, right? Because the engagement
Yeah.
isn't even the commitment. The engagement is the, I'm committing to commit.
So
Yeah.
it's so funny because I can be very negative about romance. Like, that is just, that's just me. God, I love this song though.
Yeah,
It's something about this song. It's like, it doesn't matter your point of view. You listen to it and you're like, I believe in love for these.
Yeah.
I mean, I do believe in love, to be clear.
It almost is like, because of that innocence, like, how can you fault someone for this just
Yeah.
desire
Perspective.
to be happy and loved? It's such a naive little, but like
Yeah.
naive in the best way, like an innocent, unjaded
fantasy.
perspective. Yeah.
This has nothing to do with it, but I do think it's interesting. The fact that she points out the white dress and how iconic the white dress is for weddings is actually relatively recent in modern history. It was Queen Victoria. When she got married, she wore a white dress. So that's like, what, 1830 something. So I think ancient Rome had some white dresses, but it's such a big thing now, and it's like kind of relatively recent. And that's an imagery thing that I think is fun with weddings. You say white dress, everyone goes to weddings so fast.
Yeah, it's super interesting, because even in a lot of cultures, people have started adopting the white dress. Like, even in Indian weddings, I see Indian brides wearing white dresses, which is just wild, because white is actually a funeral color for us and was never traditionally a color, like you're supposed to be in bold red. It's that image. People want those wedding photos. And it's funny how these trends kind of come to be.
Speaking of more iconic wedding images, I have the next song. I chose Paper Rings from Lover. It came out in 2019, written by Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff, and talked about the engagement and started to talk about the wedding. We can have a discussion around, are paper rings a metaphor for representing an engagement ring, a wedding ring? I'll talk about both in the perspective. But paper rings here are a metaphor for true love, that you don't need materialism and materialistic things like shiny, expensive rings. I just need you forever. And the line that we get in the song that directly references these rings is, I like shiny things, but I'd marry you with paper rings, AKA, I like jewelry, but I don't need it to be with you. I just need you. And so the paper rings in particular, I want to talk about this symbolism and imagery and like what it refers to. It refers to an idea that if you're talking about an engagement ring is typically not paper. It's jewelry, it's shiny. So engagement rings have been common in Western countries since the Roman Empire, but it was only in the Renaissance that they began to feature diamonds. So the first well-documented use was to signify the engagement of Archduke Maximilian of Austria in Vienna in 1477 upon his betrothal to Mary of Burgundy, which then influenced higher social classes and high society people to give diamond rings as a symbol of their wealth and their love. And then, of course, in 1938, De Beers began a marketing campaign to make diamond engagement rings popular because before World
Everybody's
War II,
favorite marketing case study, right?
marketing.
Am I right?
Sorry. Yeah. Before World War II, only 10% of American engagement rings actually contained a diamond. And I don't know what the statistic is today, but it is widely considered, like, when you think of an engagement ring, you think of some sort of diamond ring, at least in Western cultures.
I think like it has to be like 99.99%.
I mean, sapphire is the other very common stone for an engagement ring, simply because of how hard the stone is, because the idea of an engagement ring is just something you're wearing every day for the rest of your life. It needs to be something that withstands, just whatever your hands are doing.
It sure does. I can't even take mine off anymore because I gained weight since I was from 22 to 34.
Yeah,
I
shocking.
gained weight and I can't take it off. So Chris really locked me in here.
Yeah. So if this is about the wedding rings, if the paper ring signifies the wedding ring and not necessarily the engagement ring, historically the wedding ring was connected to the exchange of valuables at the moment of a wedding rather than the symbol of eternal love and devotion. And according to the 1549 edition of the Book of Common Prayer, the phrase, with this ring I thee wed, actually follows the words, this gold and silver I give thee. So it's this gold and silver I give thee, and with this ring I thee wed, because the groom would hand over a purse of gold and silver coins. So whether it's an engagement ring and the wealth and luxury and the shiny thingness of a diamond, or whether it's a wedding ring, which historically in Western cultures, not all Western cultures, in many Western cultures, was literally an exchange of money and valuables, because weddings and women were property and this was an exchange of property and a tying together of families. The paper rings kind of says, I don't need that. I don't need an exchange of value. I don't need something showy. I just want you. And so paper rings, it's in the title, it's in the chorus. So we know that this is the core metaphor that she wants us to make. But there are other like implicit connections to marriage and the wedding itself that I would like to bring up, because another common wedding trope is the idea of something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. And when I was going through this song, the verses kind of bounce between something old and something new. They bounce between the past and the present tense. So you have something old, the moon is high like your friends were the night that we first met, went home and tried to stalk you on the internet. Something new, now I've read all of the books beside your bed. Something old, the shoulder I gave you in the street. Something new, now I wake up in the night and watch you sleep. And then in the second verse, you have you're something blue. I'm with you even if it makes me blue. Something old, which takes me back to the color that we painted your brother's walls. So you get it's a bit more of a stretch, but it's there. And I felt like,
That's so
when
cute.
I was looking through the song, I was like, okay, the paper rings and marriage are only explicitly mentioned in the chorus, but what else is here? So that's very loose and light, but I'm like, oh, that kind of works here because this whole story is about when we met or things we've done and where we are now. And then the bridge is essentially for better or for worse. For I want to drive away with you. I want your confidence too. I want your Drury Mondays. Your arms around me, baby boy. Which is kind of like continuing the whole idea of the wedding vows. For richer or for poorer, and she's saying with paper rings, like, I don't even need for richer. And I don't know where the better is in this. It's just the worst. I want to drive. I want your complications. I want your
The
Drury
better is
Monday.
implied.
Better is implied. But like that's such an interesting perspective on this song where we go from this idealized version of a future of marriage and wedding as something romantic and grand and all positive to in this song saying, I don't need luxury. I don't even need all your good days. I'll take your Drury Mondays. I just want them to be with you.
Baby boy is also what I call Hades, my cat. Like, he thinks that's one of his names.
This is your cat song.
I mean, if you want to talk about the most, like, commitment in my life, it is my husband and my pets, for sure. I do love this. I also was looking it up to confirm, and I have no idea if it means anything, but paper is the traditional 1-year wedding anniversary gift. So I think there may be a little
Yeah.
bit of kind of playing with that too, of this isn't just like I would marry you, it's also like getting into celebrating.
That
the
a wedding
commitment.
is not, and getting married isn't about just the day. It's
Yeah.
about the many, many years after. And so celebrating that.
I like both of those subtle things of like the use of paper specifically, the something borrowed, something blue. Like, I like these little threads of the
Yeah.
theme. It's so clever. I also really do appreciate the slight maturity. This is still a happy, bouncy song.
Very
and
boppy.
it's fun.
It's a total bop. I've been wanting to do this song because it's just a bop.
Mm-hmm.
It's the excitement about finding your person a little bit more than just Love Story, right? Like Love Story was very about the love and getting to the wedding. This is a little bit more
Life.
than that.
Yeah.
But it still feels so youthful, and it's still
Mhm.
like celebrating the things that bring you to that moment of wanting to get married.
And acknowledging that it's not all sunshine and daisies.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Love Story is pure fantasy where the only conflict is we're perfect and the world is wrong. And this one is like, I love you. And that includes your complications and your dreary Mondays. Like, this one is a little bit more about what's going on in the relationship. And it's so poppy. It's so much fun. It's so positive, and it acknowledges, like, not every day is going to be fun.
I mean, you've got kiss me once because I had a long night, kiss me twice because it's going to be all right. And then you have, honey, without all the X's, fights, and flaws, we wouldn't be standing here so tall. So it's really acknowledging that, like, there's a lot of shit you have to go through. And yet I'm not going to leave. I still want to marry you, and I don't even need a fancy ring for it all.
We don't do rumors here.
Yeah, I was literally going this. Keep going.
But
Yep.
it's so hard not to, especially since this is an episode to celebrate her real life wedding. It's hard to hear this song and not feel a tinge of sadness knowing what was happening in her life at that time and what happened later. And like she says on the Eras tour, like she wrote before she sings Lover, she says, like, I wrote songs because of like a moment in time. Maybe it was a long period, maybe it was 5 minutes, but we get to create new memories together.
Yeah.
And like my hope is that this song can kind of have a new life of joy, maybe, because there is a lot of joy in this song, but there is a now I hear it with a slight tinge of desperation of like, hey, I don't need the shiny things.
Okay, so I have always felt this way about this song, but like it's funny because it's like,
This is not a deep dive, but
no. When we talk about like the different mind states, maybe of like when someone wants to get married, the first song is like naivety and innocence and the fantasy, like you were saying. This song does feel like I can't help but just think of like the mid-20s. I'll caveat, like, that is when I got married. But I also, like, even when I got married, I was so obsessed with the idea of getting married. There's like a phase of life where it's so much more about the like, I just want to
Yeah.
get to that step.
I relate to this song because I had a long-term relationship where we had picked out rings. We were engaged to be engaged. And then he was like, he didn't know if he actually wanted to get married and have kids. Anyway, I feel this because even still, like, there are things that were hard, and my concept was like, yeah, well, a relationship isn't all easy. It's not sunshine and rainbows, but you
Yeah.
don't really know, like, what is the level of difficulty that I should be accepting versus what is the level of difficulty where, like, oh, this isn't okay. And this isn't how I should feel. This isn't how somebody should make me feel. Like, things,
Yeah.
and the way someone phrased it to me, I don't know if it was a therapist or a friend or a book, it was like, there are going to be hard things that happen, right? People will, you will lose jobs, people will get sick. And so life will be hard. But the thing that shouldn't be hard is how the other person shouldn't make life hard. You're going to not agree all the time,
Yes.
and you will argue, but like how they treat you or how you show up for each other, like life is hard enough, and that's what's going to be the hard stuff, the complications, the long night. Not it shouldn't be
Yeah.
how the other person makes you feel.
And this song kind of captures that sentiment really perfectly. I remember in like our 20s, multiple friends who thought they were going to get married were in this phase. And then it ultimately didn't
It
work out,
didn't, yeah.
similar to what you're saying, Jodi. And I almost like kind of associate this. It's also like
Yeah.
the bias of looking back on it now, but I do think that there's
1000%.
something here in these lyrics
Yeah.
that like make you feel that way, where it's a little bit more about like the excitement and the notion. Yeah, they're bad things, but like sweep them
But
under
like
the
we'll get
rug.
through
And
it. Yeah. But like, you get so caught up in like, good, like I found my person that I think
right.
is my person, and like here's what I'll put up with this stuff, and
Yeah.
I think you just, I don't know if it's experience of like, okay, no, that's
It's like
not
it
it.
shouldn't
That's not
feel
the
that.
level. It shouldn't feel like that, or that
It shouldn't feel.
person, like I want your complications. Like, well, things will be complicated. Is it that person's complications? Is that worth putting up with?
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think it's so funny because I listen to this song so differently, which is why I'm convinced this song is so contextual. This song makes me think of, like I was saying, when we were planning a wedding and it was getting bigger than we wanted, that this was how I felt of like, I'll do
I don't
paper
need it.
rings. I don't care. I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
And now, many years later, the complications, like, yeah, I have pretty bad depressive episodes. I am a complication.
Yeah.
Turns
out that's a thing that I
Yeah.
have, and Chris deals with it to the best
He's
of
like,
his
"He'll
You're
take your
not
jury
the
Monday."
complication, Jen. The
You're not the complication. Yeah.
situation is the
Yeah,
complication.
the situation is the complication.
My brain chemistry, which is very
Yeah, well,
deeply
that's not
a
your
part of
fault.
me.
I
Well, yeah. But
doubt he would ever. I doubt he would
Call
say that
you a
you're the
complication.
complication there.
Right?
Well,
But isn't that interesting? I want your
You're like,
anyway,
he told
this
me last night.
not a deep dive.
because I know we're not a deep dive, but it's not I want you as a complication, but the
Yeah. Right, I want your
complications that come along
complications.
with you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
all of this is to say, one, really fascinating conversation of how contextualized the song
Yeah.
is, because I think if you're in a relationship, like we were getting married and I was like, I don't need the big wedding. I remember going to the florist and then being like, do you want this or this? And I was like, I've never cared so little about a decision in my life. Here's the colors we chose. Pick flowers that go with them. I don't care. And I distinctly remember, because I was with my
This
maid
is
of
where
honor.
I'll be type B. I don't care.
I truly don't care. I remember with my maid of honor, I just kept making eye contact of like, what? The florist was like, I had a bride once who had me paint the irises or whatever so it matched better, so I can do that. And I was like, I don't think I've ever cared about anything in my life enough for that to be
Someone
worth the
paints the
effort.
roses red? Is that what we're hearing?
I was just like, literally, I remember the morning of being like,
Thank
is
you, Maansi.
our officiant here? Great, that's all I care about. Like, literally, as long as I'm married to Chris by the end of the day, the rest of it doesn't really matter to me. So like, this song taps into that feeling that I had
I love
then.
Yeah.
But it's just contextual. It's so contextual, and it depends on the partner, and if the partner's into it and is like, hell yeah, I'd marry you with paper rings too. Or if the partner's like, I don't know, and you're trying to are you trying to convince
them?
Are you convincing them, or are you singing this together? And that changes the song so
for
much.
sure.
I might have had like slightly selfish motives in teeing the song up that way because I do want to contrast it slightly with my song. So I have the next song.
I love me a transition. I love me a good transition.
Maybe it'll make more sense. I decided to do the song Wishlist. It came out on The Life of a Showgirl, which came out in 2025. And it was written by Taylor Swift, Max Martin, and Shellback. This song doesn't explicitly mention marriage. However, I feel like it is the most like quintessential explanation of real life marriage, in that it's like what happens beyond the wedding. Maybe there doesn't even need to be a wedding. Like, it's not explicitly mentioned in the song. And I want to like caveat the fact that you do not need to have a wedding to have everything that is in this song. But to me, is like when you get past that step, the party, the thing that we've been planning our whole lives, like what is the crux of what you really want? In Paper Rings, she's kind of saying like, I don't need anything fancy. I just want something simple. But there is still a little bit of that ceremony, the exchanging the rings, the symbolism. This song gets a little bit past even that, and it's ignoring everything about the traditional wedding symbolism ceremony, and it gets straight to the outcome, so to speak, of I just want you, suburban life, put me in a neighborhood with a couple kids, have a whole block looking like you, tell the world to leave us alone, dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. And then she says, boss up, settle down, got a wish list. I just want you. And that notion of settling down with somebody that you love and building a life together, to me, is like final stage.
Yeah.
That's what marriage is all about at the end of the day. And I love that this song also taps into this idea that it's okay to only want that and not something else. A lot of people want a lot of things and they want it all. They want to be able to balance their life. They want to have the marriage and the career and the fancy cars and all of these things. And that's okay. That's totally fine if you have those kind of ambitious aspirations. But in our culture, there's a lot of conversation about how sometimes it's not possible to have all of it. And it makes it a little bit okay to just say, in the list of prioritization, all of that may be a secondary or not even necessary. All I really want is that happy, settled down life, and that's okay.
What I love about this song, which you just kind of tapped into, is basically I think women can never get it right because the idea of settling down in a suburb with kids in a driveway is my actual personal hell. Like that would be make me the least happy person on this planet. But and I get chastised for it socially sometimes of like people were shocked that we didn't have kids. People are surprised that we never moved into the suburbs. But on the other end, if you do that, then it's like, well, why did you like give up your like there's
Yeah.
no way to
You
win.
can't
And I
win.
love that this song has the and they should have what they want. They deserve what they want. I hope they get what they want. Where it's like everyone wants things and I hope everyone gets what they want. And I'm sharing all the stories and I'm sharing what I want and I hope I get it, but I also hope you get what you want. That it isn't like one path to it's not like you get married, then you settle down and have kids and that's the only path. She's just saying, hey, that's what I want. That's great. What do you want? God, I hope you get that too. And I just love that about this song because, man, you just can't win. There's no way
Yeah.
to win as a woman.
Yeah, also there's just that we do chastise as a society people for wanting something so timeless and simple is insane when you really think about it. Like, even when this song came out, there was a lot of backlash. People were like, she's leaning into the trad wife trend, or like,
God
what?
help us.
My God, guys. Like, people have had
Touch
families since the
grass.
beginning of time. Like,
Touch
uh,
grass.
yeah, and it's absolutely true. It's like no matter what you want, people are always like, you should be aspiring for more, maybe. And hence why women feel this pressure to try to juggle these 10 different lives and try to have it all. I love the line boss up, settle down.
Mhm.
Cause like, why not just have a time for things and like
Right.
rather than having it all at once?
You have your chapters. You have the chapters of your life. And yeah, I want to boss up and then I want to settle down and then maybe I do it all over again, right? It's not a zero sum game here. And
Yeah.
I think this song is called Wishlist. It's what she wants or what other people want and desire. And why are we berating people for their wish list? That being said, I think it's really the evolution of these songs going from the fantasy of a Romeo and Juliet proposal to I'll just take the paper rings. I don't need anything materialistic to like, I'm not even thinking about the proposal or the wedding. I'm thinking about the life. And I love that you brought this song in, Maansi, because I also think it bookends and shows the arc of her perspective on marriage and weddings. And it's that it's not actually about the engagement or the wedding. It's about the life. That's what you're looking for when you're looking for a partner. And we have so many songs that are about what she thought the future with a partner would look like. And
Yeah.
this one is so much more like just straightforward. I just want a couple kids and a basketball hoop, and like the other details, I don't know what they are, but I know that those are the anchors of what I want.
It's also fun just for me to think about it. Like if you rewrote this of like, I just want a couple of cats in a walkable city, and then I'd be
Right.
like, yeah, I do want to settle down. It also just reminds me of, I think I've shared this on the podcast before. Soon after we got married, we moved to North Carolina for me to go to grad school. And I remember during that time, within like a couple week period, I had someone be like, you took your husband's last name? Like, okay, that's kind of a problem. You're kind of erasing your name there. And then later on had someone be like, oh, you made your husband move to North Carolina for you to go to grad school? What about his career? And I was like, okay, am I too
Which
woke
one
or
is
am
it?
I too conservative? Can everyone just tell me apparently what I am? Because I'm apparently everything I'm doing is wrong.
A
And it was like,
complex human, turns
I
out.
know. And that's why I like this song where it's like, just do you, man. Do whatever, do what
I
you want to do.
Do want him to be Travis Swift, though, if we're being honest.
I mean, yeah, that's funny.
Realistically, I don't think either of them are going to give up their names because those are like very strong identities.
Their
But
brands.
Yeah.
those are literally their
But
brands.
You know,
However,
people have done it. Like I know that
Oh,
there were
yeah.
like shockwaves in India when Priyanka Chopra decided to do Priyanka Chopra Jonas, for example.
Yeah.
Like people were like, "That's crazy. She's like 10x more famous than him. Why would she take
well,
on
in
his name?"
India,
But
but not
like
in the US.
yeah, like she was just like, people take people's last names. I've always wanted
Yeah.
to do that, so she just
Yeah.
kept both.
If changing your last name is a pain in the butt, just a warning everyone, logistically very annoying. In retrospect, we've talked about
Yes.
this because again, we were young. If we
Yes.
could do it all over again, we would combine our last names, like make a new last name, and we would
Yeah.
both change it. Because I like having the same last name as him.
Right.
It's our family. It's establishing our own identity. But in retrospect, I think the symbolism of combining our last names would have been really cool. But
Yeah, it would have been
I'm
more
not.
aligned with who you are.
I ain't
Forth
going
on
through
this
that
too,
again.
because I feel like sometimes I regret it, but then sometimes I'm like, as a society, sometimes we overthink things. And I
Yeah.
sometimes also am like, I wonder if this is one of those, like we have traditions. Like,
I don't know. I think you've got to do what works for you and what
yeah,
you
like
like.
exactly.
I don't ever want to
and
change
that's,
my
I
name
think,
because it's my name.
I was just going to say, like, depending on the day, I go back and forth for this exact reason. I also think that, like, identity is hard. When you've had one name your whole life and then you suddenly change it, it doesn't feel right initially. And sometimes it takes time to grow into new identities. I think when I first changed my name, I thought okay, so high school, I always wanted to change my name because I was romanticizing it and, like, had this thing. And then, like, it actually happened. I spent 2 years trying to do it legally and it happened and I had instant regret. I was like, this is not who I am. And I had like a whole crisis. And now, like 10 years into my marriage, I've like grown into it and I'm like, this is just who I am now. And it's actually like less of a big deal than it was even 5-10 years ago. So it's such a like ebb and flow. And sometimes
Yeah.
you just have to like roll with it.
I think
Yeah.
because women are getting married later in life, like you've lived more of your I've lived more of my life with
Totally.
this
Yeah.
name. And
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
like,
God, I
well,
wouldn't
this
change
is
it
me.
now.
This is me. But also, like, on my wish list is like we each have our own rooms and maybe apartments on the same
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
Because, like, I
It's not a
like
bad
my
idea.
things and the way it decorated. And I think, happy wife, happy life. And happy wife would, in my instance, would be I get to have my, like, don't mess up my shit.
My college roommates and I talk about this all the time. We're like, it was great when we were living together and the
Right.
guys would just come visit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was.
I'm like,
Yeah.
let's figure out a way to like have the women live together and support each other, and like the men, we'll call you when we need you.
Jen, you
Says
mentioned
the single
something
woman.
earlier which I really loved, which was this like, oh, if you change it to just have my 2 cats and like move into town or whatever. I don't remember exactly what you said, but you're like
walkable city.
walkable city. Yeah, like I would also like to settle down. And one of the things that I liked about the song is like, not only is it a different frame, it's more about the life, but I also think there's a little bit of an arc with age. Like there's 3
Yeah.
different decades that we've covered here. When she's a
Mhm.
teenager, when she's in her 20s, and then when she's in her 30s. And I think that some of these things, regardless of where you are in your relationship and your life, regardless of where you are, like married, engaged, dating, or whatever, I do think that there's certain feelings that you have just as a human traversing through this earth of like, at this phase in my life, here are the things that I've already done and here are the new experience I haven't yet
Mhm.
experienced. And based on those, like, here's what I kind of feel like doing in this moment. Not universal for everybody, obviously, because people are unique and different. But like something about the song just screams so 30s, you know?
Please God, bring me a best friend who I think is hot.
Right. Like the way that she has said that is so
Put that on my Bumble
awesome.
profile.
Right. And I could not even imagine. I don't know. I just like really would not relate to this song when I was in my 20s, even though I was already married. Because to your point, I also felt that a suburban life and settling down is like hell on earth. I was like, no way. I would never. That's not the life for me. I've lived in cities for more than a decade or two. Like, never. And then yet, like, something for me just changed this year where I'm suddenly like,
Gotta
it
get
doesn't
out.
sound so bad. That sounds pretty good. Like, it's just
I'll
like a
take a
really
minivan.
it's a weird thing that I'm still coming to terms with, but I liked the fact that we all picked a song from a different decade and kind of like went on this maturity journey to some degree as well, or just like life phase. Maturity is not the right word, just like life phase journey, maybe.
We also all picked happy songs. Do we want to talk for a second about
Yes.
the many, many other songs that we could have picked and maybe why they didn't fit for like a Mazel Tov, congratulations, you just got married episode?
Before we get into the sad songs, can I do 2 shout outs for 2 other happy songs?
Yes.
But yeah,
go
I
for
just
it.
mixed them all together.
Yeah. I had 2 honorable mentions that I was, like, really tempted to do. Starlight, I really like because it's about a moment when they're
Yeah.
dancing on a beach. But there's a lyric in there of, like, "We can get married, have 10 kids, and have it all," and I it's about this dancing. To me, it, like, really captures the feeling of, like, your wedding reception. Like, that's kinda what I was like, when you're just dancing, everyone you're loving is in a room, and that kind of happiness, elation. And then I love the song "Timeless." I've talked about how, Hindu weddings are for 7 lifetimes. Indian people get married for eternity, not just one life, and to me, "Timeless" is a song that really captures this feeling of, like, we were meant to be together in this life or another life or in another life, but it's a union that transcends time.
The other
Lover
happy
was the
ones,
other
yeah, Lover.
obvious happy one that we just didn't do.
How You Get the Girl, I Want You for Worse or for Better. I Want You Forever and Ever. Speak Now is not unhappy. I mean, she's ruining a wedding, but it is very much a
The
wedding
classic
song.
the classic "I
But
object."
Daddy, I Love Him also has a happy ending because there now everyone's happy, but no, you can't come to the wedding.
Oh, that song. And then we get a lot of like not great
Yeah.
reflections on
I
marriage.
I think to me one of the reasons why Paper Rings always has sadness is because it immediately makes me think of You're Losing Me.
Mm,
Wouldn't marry me either.
a
Pathological
pathological
people
people
pleaser.
pleaser. Yeah.
It's hard for my brain to unseparate those 2 songs. They've
Yeah,
just
I
always
see
felt like
that.
a narrative arc to me.
I also eldest daughter came up for me
Yeah.
when I said I don't believe in marriage. That was a lie. Very, very sad.
Yeah.
And this whole episode is celebrating that she got to live her truth
Yeah.
and stop that lie, which is really nice.
We can't end on a sad note.
What do we think her first dance was? Lover?
No, I feel like there's no way she would do one of her own
No.
songs.
No, I agree. Do we think she played any of her own songs at the wedding?
No.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
I have no idea. I would not personally
Opalite.
if it was me.
I
Opalite
feel
would
like
be
it
fun.
would be Opalite. You can't really
I could
dance to So High
see
School.
I could see, like, a family member, like, I could see her mom being like, we should really
Best
play
Day."
this song or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I could just see The Best Day would be so sweet if she did,
For
like,
like a dance with her mom.
yeah.
There's so much good music out there though, and I know she's a
I
fan of
know.
a lot of good
Yeah, no,
songs.
she's
Yes.
having
I'm sure
yeah.
most of it won't be her, but the idea of her and her mom having, like, a little dance to The Best Day is actually really sweet, and I love that.
We talked about the Our Song and how she felt like there was not a good song out there and she wrote the best one. So maybe it is her own song.
It's all her. She's actually everyone else is garbage.
She's like, "This wedding will be all my songs. Thank you very much, because I own them all now." Well, if we
The
do
other
get
one
any insights and intel into what song she had at her wedding, we'll do a special after school episode and
Yeah.
overanalyze
other
the
one
shit out of that.
The other one that I thought was fun just to bring up, I don't think it's happy or sad, I just think it's funny, is I'm Gonna Get You Back because it's like she's basically like, I'm gonna kill you or marry you, and I'm gonna choose what happens. I love that song. I think it's so funny to think about in the context of her wedding day. Like as a bit, I would like text if I was her, I would like text that song to Travis and be like, "You're lucky I chose the marriage one." Like the morning.
Well, Mazel Tov, Travis and
Yeah.
Taylor. I can't wait to see whose name you took, or if you started your own Swelfie? Quift? No, kidding. They're obviously
Quift is horrible, and that's the one
Quift.
that they should go with.
they're obviously not.
It's Taylor Quift.
Taylor Quift. Can you even imagine?
We'll have to change
God.
our name to AP Taylor Quift.
Taylor Quift. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Share it with a friend. Come back every Wednesday when we do our regular episodes. We're not, I was going to say we're not always this unhinged, but we are. And
Yes.
yeah, thanks for listening to AP Taylor Swift.
Quift.
That's all we have for you today on AP Taylor Swift.
Be sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Follow us across socials at AP Taylor Swift to stay up to date.
Join us next time as we overanalyze the next Taylor Swift song on AP Taylor Swift.